I'm Charlie Bright of Gold Derby, and today I'm speaking with Gabby Capili, who is a Disney animator who is a participant in the Disney Plus show Sketchbook as part of our Meet the Experts panel on television animation. First question I wanted to ask was, I'm guessing for the idea if you're an animator to work at Disney has to be like one of the like dream jobs. How did you end up working as an animator for Disney?
Oh my gosh, great question. So yeah, it was a dream job. I was part of a Disney family growing up. I was an artist, but also I was part of a family where all the rest of my cousins are nurses or doctors or on the road to become nurses and doctors. I'm the only artist. And so I kind of got it in my head when I was young that like, okay, if I want to be an artist, I got to be a Disney artist because that way my Disney family will understand what I do. So how did I do it? It was a long road. It was a lot of work. It's a lot of drawings. There's that saying Eric Goldberg told me where it's you've got 10,000 bad drawings in you and you've got to draw them all out. So mostly just working on getting those 10,000 out, and then at the end hoping you're good enough to make it in to live a dream.
And did your family like support you in your artistic endeavors?
Yes, I was extremely lucky. I had a big enough family. I'm number six I have a tattoo for number six. Out of 11 kids, I'm directly in the middle. So I had that perfect mix of like, there's so many kids, we can't pay attention to everything that you're doing, but also like, you do pretty okay. So like, whatever it is, your grades are good. We'll get you art books if that's what you want, because you keep your grades up and you're okay on your own. I was lucky, very lucky. I have a very supportive family.
On the show, you in your episode, you draw Kuzco from The Emperor's New Groove, and I was wondering what made you choose that character to showcase as in your drawing.
Um, I got the option to choose whoever I wanted, and Cusco is like that's my main guy. It was I say in the episode that it was the first Disney movie that I saw in theaters. I was pulled out of school to go and watch it with my dad, and it was a very special memory for me. And then also, it's so funny. It's so funny, so well acted, and it breaks the fourth wall constantly throughout the entire film, which was something I loved as a kid. There's a part where they're like waxing the floor with a floor buffer, and there's like, even as a kid, I was like, why do they have that? They don't even have running water. What's going on? So it's just a very funny movie, and I relate to the character a lot because he starts out very like self-obsessed and not a really good person, but he learns throughout the course of the story through friendship and the power of friendship that like doing things for other people makes you a better person, which makes you feel better also.
So, what made you want to participate in this project, Sketchbook? What made you want to be a part of it?
I'm the type of person who I like doing new stuff. So I was asked by Amy Astley, who's a friend of mine, and she asked me if I wanted to, and I didn't know what it was, but I was like, yeah, sure, of course. Why not? And then I remember getting on set and being like, oh, it's this, huh? And like being asked like, oh, you're going to be drawing Cusco, make sure you practice. And then sitting down and seeing this like incredible drawing table and being like, it's a good thing I didn't know, because if I did know, I would have been nervous about this. Um, just the spirit of adventure, I guess.
And how long did it take to shoot you actually doing the drawing?
Doing the actual drawing, I must have drawn 100 Cuscos that day. It was a lot of Cuscos. The whole day of shooting was 12 hours from 8 in the morning until 8 at night. Um, the actual drawing part was a big portion of the day. I remember being nervous when I sat down and being like, I hope I practiced enough. And then by the end, being like, I could draw this in my sleep. Um, I'll be drawing this easily for the rest of my life. So a long time.
um, what has been the most rewarding part of participating in this project for you?
Definitely the response from kids. I've been lucky enough to go and do some press events, and they're always teenagers who we lock eyes, and I'm like, yes, I was you when I was a teenager. You understand me, and I understand you. I see like a friend of mine was coming to press events with me, and they actually said to me like, "Oh, Gabby, the queer kids are like running up to you, aren't they?" And I was like, "Yes, they are," because that's what I was hoping for. Um, when when I was telling my story to the camera, is like, I hope the weird kids who feel a little bit out of place see me and think, "Oh, she's weird too," and that has definitely happened. So it's been a great time.
Kind of reminds me of when Domi Shi, when she won her Oscar for Bao, and she said, for all the girls that are doodling, that are doing drawings in their sketchbooks at school, is that
Yes,
something that you related to as well?
yes, yes, very much so. Even in Turning Red, they're when Mei Mei is like drawing anime under the bed, I did that too. Very relatable.
Um, so let me see here. What was your reaction to the rest of the series? What did you find really fascinating about some of the other artists that were on there?
Oh, well, one of the things that really surprised me was that Jin Kim, who draws Captain Hook in Sketchbook, was an animator on Emperor's New Groove, and I didn't know until I was sitting next to him doing an interview with just the two of us, and he just mentioned it so casually. I was like, Jin Kim, you're like one of my heroes. I'm sitting right next to you. You worked on this movie that meant so much to me. Um, and then also just little things that I learned from watching the other episodes. Samantha Vilfort, who drew Mirabelle, is one of my really good friends, and like hearing her story and her uh like approach to art and how different it is from mine, even though I like worked with her and we're friends. Just watching Eric Goldberg draw at all, I was lucky enough to sit next to him while he did a live draw with an audience, and seeing how he moves his pencil and being like, geez, maybe someday I really hope I can get there too. It's been a lot of fun to see how other artists approach art and how it's all very similar to how I approach art, but it's completely different at the same time.
And I know you drew Cusco for this, and it was wonderful. But I know what are some of the other Disney characters that you would love to have that type of like time and just talk about the art of drawing character like that?
Oh, great question. My second choice was Mulan. They told me maybe Cusco will be too hard because he's a llama. And I said, what about Mulan? And they said, Mulan's really hard too. You can just go with Cusco. Um, but Mulan was another character that was a big deal for me as a kid. Um, my dad's side of the family is Southeast Asian, and so Mulan was the movie that we'd like. She's cool. She's a warrior. She wears armor. She like cuts all her hair off and pretends to be a boy, and deals with like self doubt throughout the whole film, but also saves China. Like you can have self doubt and also still save China, still be a hero. Um, I think if you go into like any of the Disney movies that I loved growing up, there's always that core message in there. Like Rapunzel is another one that comes to mind. She's very sweet, but she has this strength in her that inspires everybody else around her. She doesn't even know it. Um, and then Tiana, who's like, well, that's all she does is work hard to the point where it's like kind of becomes a problem. She has to learn to loosen up a little bit. But those were some of the characters that I related to a lot growing up.
Well, Gabby, thank you so much for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you in our panel in just a little bit.
Thank you, Charlie. Thanks for having me.